When strength becomes exhaustion, finding love and softness after 40, you know what nobody tells you about being strong? That eventually you get tired, really tired. The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix, the kind that settles into your bones and makes you wonder if you'll ever feel light again. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Latrina Kaufman, a woman who's dedicating her life to helping Black women over 40 rediscover what it means to be soft, to be vulnerable, to be open to love when the world has taught them that armor is survival. Latrina's work is revolutionary because she's not just coaching women, she's liberating them. She's creating a movement where strong Black women are unlearning survival mode and rediscovering softness, reclaiming joy, rest, and freedom without guilt, without apology, without explanation. And what she shared with me, what she's witnessed in the lives of countless women, is nothing short of transformative. Because here's the thing, we've been sold this narrative that strength means never breaking, never bending, never asking for help, especially as Black women, especially after a certain age. We're supposed to have it all figured out by now, right? We're supposed to be the rock, the foundation, the one everyone leans on. And we do it. We do it so well that we forget we're human. We forget that we're allowed to be tired. We forget that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's actually the doorway to the connections we've been craving all along. Latrina Kaufman's work centers on a truth that's both simple and profound. Embracing vulnerability as a Black woman over 40 isn't weakness, it's a release from the exhaustion of constant strength, allowing deeper connections. And when I heard that, when I really let it sink in, I realized how many of us are walking around holding our breath, waiting for permission to just, be soft. Let me tell you about Tasha, 46 years old, divorced, living in Atlanta, raising her child while navigating the minefield of co parenting with a bitter ex. The kind of ex who makes every pickup a battlefield, every holiday a negotiation, every text message a potential explosion. Tasha spent years in what she called her tough girl mode. Had to. Because if she let her guard down for even a second, the chaos would swallow her whole, or so she thought. The exhaustion was real, the kind that makes you snap at your kids for no reason, the kind that has you crying in your car in the grocery store parking lot because someone asked if you were okay and you realized you couldn't remember the last time anyone asked, the kind that makes you wonder if love is even possible anymore, or if you've just become too hard, too damaged, too much. But here's where Latrina Kaufman's insights become life changing. Tasha didn't need to become softer by pretending the pain didn't exist. She needed to become softer by acknowledging it, by letting it be seen, by understanding that vulnerability, real vulnerability, is what creates the space for someone else to step in and share the load. Tasha joined Black People Meet, a platform where 53% of users are women, creating a space specifically designed for Black women to connect without games, without pretense. And instead of crafting the perfect profile that showed how together she was, how successful, how unbothered, she told the truth. She wrote about the messy divorce, the bitter baby daddy, the therapy sessions, the exhaustion, the hope that maybe, just maybe, there was someone out there who could handle her reality. And you know what happened? Within 6 months, she found a partner who didn't run from her truth, someone who saw her vulnerability not as baggage, but as bravery, someone who understood that submission in a relationship, the kind Latrina Kaufman talks about, isn't about surrendering your power. It's about mutual respect. It's about trusting someone enough to let them hold you when you're tired of holding yourself up. Tasha's co parenting situation didn't magically fix itself, but it improved dramatically because she wasn't carrying it alone anymore. She had someone in her corner. And more than that, she had given herself permission to stop performing strength and start experiencing softness. Her story inspired her entire circle of Black women over 40 to join Black People Meet, sparking community discussions on therapeutic openness, on what it means to drop the armor and let someone see the real you. Now, let's talk about the myth that love after 40 is some kind of statistical impossibility, that the good ones are taken, that you're too old, too set in your ways, too complicated. Latrina Kaufman's research and the stories she's collected shatter that lie completely. Finding love after 40 is absolutely possible through targeted platforms like SilverSingles, where 59% of users are women over 50, and Black People Meet, where 53% are women with a focus on the Black community. These aren't just dating sites, they're ecosystems designed for mature Black women to thrive, to be seen, to connect with people who are actually ready for something real. Meet Monique, 48, Chicago entrepreneur, burned out from what she calls strong Black woman syndrome, decades of solo parenting, building a business, being the one everyone called when things fell apart. She was successful by every external measure, but internally, she was empty. Dating felt hopeless. The confidence wasn't there. She'd look in the mirror and see someone who'd forgotten how to be soft, how to flirt, how to believe she was worthy of being pursued. Years of solo parenting and career grind masked the exhaustion until a breakdown forced her to confront it. She realized she'd been running on fumes for so long that she didn't even recognize herself anymore. The woman staring back at her in the mirror was a stranger, competent, capable, but completely disconnected from joy. Monique signed up for Silver Singles, a platform specifically for the over 50 crowd, where 59% of users are women looking for serious, mature connections. And in her profile, instead of listing accomplishments, she wrote about her journey, about the breakdown that led to the breakthrough, about learning that vulnerability wasn't something to hide, but something to offer. The conversations she had were different, deeper. Men who'd also lived, who'd also survived, who understood that at this stage, nobody's looking for perfect. They're looking for real. Monique met someone who matched her energy, who appreciated her strength but didn't need her to perform it constantly. Someone who understood that healthy submission, the kind of Latrina Kaufman emphasizes, means partnership. It means I trust you enough to let you lead sometimes, and you trust me enough to do the same. Monique told me that for the first time in decades, she feels free, not because she found a man, but because she found herself again underneath all that armor. And the relationship? That's just the beautiful bonus that came from finally being honest about what she needed. She achieved emotional freedom, and now she's thriving in a balanced relationship after decades of fatigue. Her story, shared in Black women's groups, encouraged over 40 daters to prioritize therapeutic release on age specific sites, to see vulnerability as strength rather than weakness. Here's where it gets even more real. Let's talk about bitter exes and baby daddies, because if we're going to have an honest conversation about dating after 40 as a Black woman, we can't pretend that past relationships don't cast long shadows. Keisha, 44, nurse from Houston, knows this intimately. Her divorce didn't just end a marriage, it unleashed a level of bitterness from her ex that felt almost personal in its cruelty. Sabotage, manipulation, using their child as a weapon. The kind of toxicity that makes you want to build walls so high that nobody, good or bad, can ever get close again. The divorce amplified her ex's resentment, pushing Keisha toward a breaking point. She was exhausted from the constant battles, from always having to be on guard, from never being able to just breathe. She realized she had two choices: let the bitterness consume her, or find a way to reclaim her joy despite it. Keisha joined our time, where 52% of users are women over 50, and she made a decision. She was going to be radically honest about her situation, not in a bitter, complaining way, but in a this is my reality, and I'm handling it with grace way. She practiced what Latrina Kaufman teaches about healthy submission, about understanding that opening yourself up to love again after betrayal isn't naive, it's courageous. She blocked toxic contact with her ex where possible, set firm boundaries, and refused to let his bitterness define her capacity for joy. And when she started dating again, she didn't hide the complexity. She owned it. And the man she eventually connected with, he respected the hell out of it. He saw a woman who'd been through fire and came out softer, not harder, who understood that trust is built, not assumed, who knew that submission in a relationship means I'm choosing to be vulnerable with you because I trust you'll honor it, not I'm giving up my voice. Keisha secured peaceful co parenting and passionate love, reclaiming joy she thought was lost forever. Her story motivated Black professional networks to view submission as empowering, boosting mature dating participation and changing the conversation around what it means to be soft and strong at the same time. Keisha's story, like Tasha's and Monique's, illustrates something Latrina Kaufman has been teaching, that healthy submission in relationships means mutual respect, not surrender. It's therapeutic when it fosters trust, especially when you're navigating the minefield of bitter exes or complicated co parenting situations with grace. These women didn't find love because they became perfect. They found love because they became honest. They stopped performing. They stopped pretending the exhaustion wasn't real. They stopped believing that vulnerability was a liability. And here's what I want you to understand: this isn't just about dating. This is about reclaiming your humanity. This is about understanding that the superwoman cape you've been wearing, it's heavy, and you're allowed to take it off. You're allowed to say, I'm tired. You're allowed to say, I need help. You're allowed to say, I want someone to hold me while I fall apart and put myself back together. Latrina Kaufman's work is creating a movement, a sacred space where strong Black women are unlearning survival mode and rediscovering softness, where they're reclaiming joy, rest, and freedom without guilt, without apology, without explanation. And the impact, it's rippling through communities, through friend groups, through families. Because when one woman gives herself permission to be soft, she gives every woman around her permission to. Think about it. How many times have you watched another woman drop her guard and felt a little flutter of hope in your chest? How many times have you seen someone else choose rest over hustle and thought, maybe I could do that too? That's the power of permission. That's the power of one woman deciding she's done performing and ready to start living. And it's contagious. When Tasha opened up about her messy reality and found love anyway, her friends started asking questions. When Monique shared her breakdown to breakthrough story, women in her business network started signing up for Silver Singles. When Keisha refused to let her ex bitterness steal her joy, her colleagues started setting boundaries they'd been too afraid to set before. This is how revolutions start, not with grand gestures, but with one woman saying, I'm tired of pretending. I'm ready to be real. So here's what I need you to hear. You are not too much. You are not too damaged. You are not too old. You are not too complicated. You are not too broken. You are exactly where you need to be. And the softness you're craving, it's already inside you. You just need permission to let it out. And I'm giving you that permission right now. Permission to rest without explanation, permission to say no without guilt, permission to want love without apology, permission to be soft in a world that taught you survival, permission to trust that vulnerability is not weakness, but the bravest thing you'll ever do. Latrina Kaufman is making the world better by giving Black women over 40 that permission, by showing them that strength and softness aren't opposites, they're partners, by proving that love after 40 isn't a fairy tale, It's a very real possibility when you're willing to show up as your whole, honest, beautifully imperfect self. So here's my challenge to you. Not next month, not when you feel ready this week. Pick one platform, Black People Meet or Silver Singles. Craft a profile that highlights your real vulnerabilities, not your resume. Write about the messy divorce, the exhausting co parenting, the therapy sessions, the hope that refuses to die. And then message 3 matches with honest intent. Watch how it invites therapeutic connections over 40. Watch how being real attracts real. Watch how vulnerability becomes your superpower, not your weakness. Because here's the truth: the world doesn't need another strong Black woman who's silently falling apart. The world needs you, whole, rested, soft, and deeply loved. The world needs you to model what it looks like to choose yourself without apology. The world needs you to show the next generation that strength doesn't mean suffering in silence. Drop the armor, tell the truth, let yourself be seen, and watch what happens when you stop surviving and start living, when you stop performing and start feeling, when you stop protecting and start connecting, because you deserve softness, you deserve rest, you deserve love that doesn't require you to be strong all the time. And it's waiting for you right on the other side of vulnerability. So take a breath, put down the cape, and step into your soft girl era, where the only thing you're required to be is honest, and the only person you're required to save is yourself. The revolution starts with you, and it starts right now.